negative team. I'm excited.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I also have a Māori saying I would like to share with you all, and it is tōroku tino koretaki, or defined for you non-Māori speakers, your team is useless. So, today, ladies and gentlemen, what we've had is an extremely pathetic argument presented by the affirmative team. They didn't define what trusting really is. We had one idea of trusting presented by the first speaker, but then entirely negated by the third speaker. I'm going to elaborate on that later. But what have we seen today? Well, we've seen arguments that don't really address the issue. See, we've heard false criticisms and hypothetical situations, but no analysis, no depth, no statistics. Here we've had coherent, logical arguments from the negating team, which the third speaker of the affirmative team says is ridiculous. Ladies and gentlemen, can we trust him? So, the first thing we had was this idea of morality presented by the first speaker. We heard that there was immorality amongst the younger generation. There was no analysis. There was just a suggestion that the younger generation is immoral. We had a quote from the Bible that wisdom lies with the old people. Well, I wish to also quote the Bible, that if you raise a man in righteousness in his youth, that he will remain in all his ways. For all the failings that the affirmative team points out to all of us today, then it must rest with the affirmative team, because by their own standard, ladies and gentlemen, they have failed to raise us in ways that are righteous or moral. And see, the key failing is that accepted.
We are yet to see the proof of that, because you haven't yet finished 30.
I'm not sure if she understood that herself, ladies and gentlemen. So moving on to the second speaker, we had this development of young people needing to be looked after. This was coming from a man whose own students were stealing with him because he, through his own failure in moral conduct, was unable to show them the difference between right and wrong. Yet here he is lecturing to us the difference between whether or not we can trust you. Can we trust him, ladies and gentlemen? We've got a huge failure in their own generation if what they say is true about us. If, as they propose, hypothetically and falsely as has been proven, if they propose there are huge failures in our generation, it is on their own hands, ladies and gentlemen. We then had this idea young people drive cars too fast. Well, in 2004 a report was released. The biggest amount of fatal crashes occurs from the ages of 40 to 50 and as a result of drunkenness. Once again, a lack of statistics and no analysis. And the third thing we had was the idea that young people can't be trusted because they are not ministers. They can't be involved in Parliament because they cannot be trusted. Ladies and gentlemen, if that is the case, why do 18-year-olds have the vote? He obviously hadn't thought his argument through enough to be coherent in communicating a clear and concise point. So, on those three grounds, the grounds that the responsibility is theirs if the failures they say are true, which they're not, as we've shown, the idea that we're morally corrupt, yet their own students steal their own pens, and the idea that we can't be involved in government, but we still vote. On all three grounds, ladies and gentlemen, today the affirmative team has lost.